Hi everyone, thank you for being here. In this presentation, I'm going to walk you through a very interesting research study that looks at how subsidiaries inside multinational corporations gain strength, develop competence, and impact the larger organization simply by being embedded in their local external networks. This study is written by Anderson, Forsgren, and Home, and it essentially answers a powerful and a simple question: how much does a subsidiary's local environment matters? And even more importantly, do the relationships a subsidiary builds outside the MNC actually shape its performance on the inside? Today, I'll first take you through the key concepts and research findings of that article. And then, in the second half, I'll apply these ideas to a real company, McDonald's Canada, to show how these academic insights actually play out in real business environments. And honestly, the way it comes makes the study feel extremely practical. So let's get started. Okay, so on this slide, I want to briefly set the context for why this research matters. Traditionally, when we talk about MNC, we think of them as large global machines with standardized processes and top-down control. But modern MNC don't function that way anymore. Instead, they function as what's called differentiated networks. Each subsidiary isn't just a clone of headquarters, it's embedded in a completely different local environment with its own customers, suppliers, technical partners, and institutions. That means every subsidiary is exposed to unique knowledge, opportunities, and innovations that are not available anywhere else in the MNC. This is important because subsidiaries are not just passive implementers of headquarters strategies. They also create knowledge, adapt to local markets, and sometimes even lead innovation for the entire MNC. And how well they do that depends heavily on their external relationships. So basically, the study is trying to understand, do strong external networks make a subsidiary more innovative, more valuable, more influential, and how does this help the whole MNC grow? This sets the stage for the rest of the research. Here, I want to introduce two central concepts in this paper: business embeddedness and technical embeddedness. Business embeddedness refers to how deeply a subsidiary is tied to its customers and suppliers through everyday business activities. Think of things like shared processes, trust, long-term partnerships, and multiple departments interacting. This is not just arm's length, buy and sell. This is relational integration. Technical embeddedness, on the other hand, is about how much the subsidiary collaborates with external partners in product development and production processes. So, if a subsidiary and its suppliers regularly co-develop the new products, exchange technical expertise, or adapt production processes together, that's high technical embeddedness. The paper argues that these two forms of embeddedness are powerful because they expose subsidiaries to new ideas, and that exposure improves their performance locally and increase their importance globally inside the MNC. These concepts form the basis for the hypothesis we will explore. On this slide, you can see theoretical model the author developed. The arrow shows the hypothesized relationship between business embeddedness, technical embeddedness, expected market performance, and importance for MNC competence development. The basic idea is business embeddedness should lead to technical embeddedness. Both forms of embeddedness should improve market performance. Technical embeddedness should make a subsidiary more important in MNC-wide competence development. The model also tests whether technical embeddedness might hurt knowledge transfer because of context specificity, but we will see what actually happened when the hypotheses were tested. So this slide basically sets up all the causal links that the study examined using real data. Here I want to walk you through how the authors actually tested their model. They collected data from 97 Swedish subsidiaries across 20 divisions of 13 multinational companies. These are major industrial firms in engineering, manufacturing, petrochemicals, electronics, and more. Each subsidiary was interviewed in depth. Sale managers, and purchasing managers described their important customer and supplier relationships. They rated business adaptation, number of departments involved, technical collaboration, joint development, and so on, all on Likert scales. Then divisional headquarters managers evaluated two things: the subsidiary's expected market performance, the subsidiary's important for competence development, and sister units. All this data was analyzed using LISREL, a structural equational model. This allowed the researchers to evaluate not just correlation but causal pathways between the constructs. So we are not guessing here. This is statistically tested. All right, now we'll transitioning into measurement models. The step ensures that each concept, business embeddedness, technical embeddedness, performance, and competence development is measured correctly and consistently. Business embeddedness was measured through adaptation of business routines and the number of internal functions interacting with customers and suppliers. Technical embeddedness was measured through adaptation connected specifically to product development and production processes. Expected performance included expected profitability, sales growth, and market share. Competence development was measured by how important headquarter believed each subsidiary was for the other unit products and process development. The measurement model showed strong reliability and validity, so essentially we are confident that the constructs used truly represent what authors intended. Here the slide shows the correlation matrix. This gives us a first look at how the variables relate because testing the full structural model. Some key patterns stand out. Business embeddedness correlates positively with technical embeddedness. Technical embeddedness correlates positively with both expected market performance and competence development. Business embeddedness does not have a significant direct correlation with market performance. This already hints at what the final results will show, that technical embeddedness is the real driver of performance and competence, and business embeddedness mainly influences technical embeddedness. Now we get into the structural model, the final statistical test of the hypothesis. Here's what the model shows. Hypothesis 1, business embeddedness leads to technical embeddedness, which is supported, strong positive effect. Hypothesis 2, business embeddedness leads to expected market performance, not supported. It had no direct effect. Hypothesis 3, technical embeddedness leads to expected market performance, supported, clear positive relationship. Hypothesis 4A versus 4B, technical embeddedness leads to importance for competence development. Hypothesis A is supported, meaning it's a positive relationship. Hypothesis 4B, the negative one, is rejected. So overall, technical embeddedness is the key driver for both local success and global influence. Business embeddedness matters mainly because it leads to technical embeddedness. So what does all of this mean? It basically tells us that subsidiaries gain power and influence not by just having good sales relationship or long-term customers, but by using those relationships to develop new knowledge. Subsidiaries that work closely with partners on product and process development become innovation hubs. And when they innovate, the rest of the multinational wants to learn from them. So business embeddedness alone doesn't guarantee performance. What truly drives performance is the capability to innovate, something that comes from technical collaboration, and because those innovations are valuable, the subsidiary becomes important inside the MNC. The slide speaks directly to managers. If you are running a multinational corporation, you should not assume that all subsidiaries are equal in terms of capability. Instead, the ones that are the more technically embedded in their local environment may be your biggest sources of innovation. So headquarter managers need to recognize and support subsidiaries with deep technical partnerships, invest in building bridges between these subsidiaries and the rest of the MNC, use integrative tools to transfer knowledge across units, avoid over-centralizing decisions because the innovation often come from the periphery. In short, subsidiaries with strong technical embeddedness should be empowered, not restricted. Like any study, there are limitations, which is data is from Swedish MNC. The next is it focuses on manufacturing heavy industries. Still, the patterns are strong and grounded in solid methodology. To conclude this section, the study shows that external networks matter enormously. Subsidiaries are not isolated units, they are deeply influenced by the local partners. Now I'm shifting into the most important part of this presentation, applying the theory to a real-world example. I choose McDonald's Canada because it captures the entire logic of the study almost perfectly. When we think of McDonald's, it's easy to imagine a fully standardized global chain where everything is controlled centrally. But in reality, McDonald's subsidiaries operate with a lot of autonomy and rely heavily on local partnerships. Some subsidiaries, not all, end up becoming genuine innovation hubs, and that's exactly what the articles talk about. McDonald's Canada is deeply embedded in local networks. It has long-standing relationships with suppliers, farmers, technical partners, and regulatory agencies. These aren't shallow connections. They shape product quality, operations, and even menu innovations. So McDonald's Canada give us a perfect chance to see the study's concepts: business embeddedness, technical embeddedness, performance impact, and competence development happening in real life. McDonald's Canada is an ideal example because the company doesn't simply operate in a Canadian market, it collaborates with that market. And collaboration is exactly what embeddedness is about. For example, McDonald's Canada worked closely with McCain for fries, Cargill for beef, Bunbury for eggs, and many local suppliers for buns, dairy produce, and packaging. These all Canadian firms that bring their own expertise and their own technologies. The relationship are not arm's length or transactional. They involve joint planning, aligned forecasting, shared research, and deep knowledge exchange. That means McDonald's Canada isn't just buying products, it is co-creating value with Canadian partners. This mirrors the study almost exactly. The subsidiaries build unique networks that expose them to knowledge the rest of the MNC does not have. And that knowledge becomes a competitive advantage, not only locally in Canada, but also for entire McDonald's corporation globally. Now let's apply business embeddedness to McDonald's Canada. Business embeddedness refers to the strength, depth, and stability of everyday business relationships. In McDonald's Canada, these relationships span decades. McCain has been a partner since the 1960s. That kind of longevity creates trust, predictability, and shared routines, but it goes deeper. Many departments communicate across both companies: supply chain, logistics, quality assurance, sustainability, and operations. Both sites adapt to each other's needs, whether it's seasonal harvesting or adjusting packaging formats. They collaborate on planning and inventory management to reduce waste and meet demand spikes. They often visit each other's plants and distribution centers. This is exactly what the study measured under business embeddedness: multifunctional interactions, long-term commitment, and adaptation of business practices. McDonald's Canada clearly demonstrate strong businesses embeddedness, which, as the study says, provides the foundation for technical embeddedness. Now we get into technical embeddedness, which the article found to be real driver of subsidiary power. McDonald's Canada and McCain don't just collaborate, they innovate together. They develop optimized potato strains, co-design fryer technology, experiment with oil temperatures, and test new equipment before rolling it out nationally. Cargill World works with McDonald's on beef traceability systems, food safety innovations, automation technologies, and even greenhouse gas reduction strategies. These are not surface level collaborations. They involve technical teams, engineers, scientists, and food researchers. This is exactly what technical embeddedness looks like: joint product development, cross-company research and development, shared problem solving, co-created technical processes, adaptation on both sides. In the study, technical embeddedness had the strongest impact on performance and the subsidiaries' role in the competence development. And we see the exact same pattern with McDonald's Canada. It gains strength by innovating alongside local partners. Now let's apply the hypothesis directly. Hypothesis 1: business embeddedness leads to technical embeddedness. This is very obvious in the McDonald's example. The stability, trust, and routine coordination in McDonald's Canada business relationship naturally evolves into collaboration on technical issues. You don't start co-designing frying equipment with a supplier unless you first have a strong business relationship. So McDonald's Canada validates Hypothesis 1 perfectly. Hypothesis 2 business embeddedness leads to expected market performance. This hypothesis was not supported in the study, meaning business relationships alone don't guarantee high performance. And this completely fits McDonald's Canada as well. Having a stable relationship with McCain or Cargill doesn't increase performance by itself. What increases performance is what those relationships enable: joint innovation, improved product quality, better production processes. So McDonald's Canada again aligns directly with the research finding. Business embeddedness is necessary but not sufficient. It only when technical collaboration emerges that performance really improves. Now let's take the final two hypotheses and apply them carefully to McDonald's Canada. Hypothesis 3, which says technical embeddedness leads to expected market performance. The study finds this to be strongly positive, and McDonald's Canada is probably one of the clearest real-world example of this relationship. Think about it. The technical collaboration with suppliers directly affects quality, consistency, and innovation. When McCain and the McDonald's co-develop better frying methods, the result is faster service, lower waste, better flavor, and more consistent fries. And fries are one of the McDonald's highest margin products. That technical collaboration also allows them to introduce new menu items faster, test them more efficiently, and scale them nationally with less risk. All of this translates into higher customer satisfaction, more predictable operations, and stronger financial performance. So McDonald's Canada, in a textbook confirmation of hypothesis 3, technical embeddedness drives performance in very direct and measurable way. Now, moving on to hypothesis 4a, which says technical embeddedness leads to subsidiary importance for competence development within the MNC. This is where McDonald's Canada becomes especially interesting because of its strong technical relationships. Canada often becomes a testing ground for new initiatives. Canada has introduced menu items, sustainability initiatives, and production processes that were later adapted by the other McDonald regions. For example, Canada was an early adopter of beef traceability standards, which influenced McDonald's global sourcing guidelines. Canada piloted more sustainable packaging solutions before they were rolled out internationally. Even certain menu innovations were tested in Canada before being shared globally. So, when we look at overall picture, a few strategic insights emerge very clearly from this example. First, subsidiaries are not just extensions of the parent company, they are active creators of knowledge. McDonald's Canada does not simply implement McDonald's global system, it adds new knowledge to the system through local collaborations. Second, the study emphasis on technical embeddedness is overwhelmingly accurate. It's not the business relationship alone that makes a subsidiary strong. It's the ability to convert that relationship into innovation. McDonald's Canada shows this repeatedly, whether it's potatoes, beef, packaging, or menu development. The real value comes from the technical work done in collaboration with suppliers. Third, from a strategic perspective, MNCs should pay much closer attention to which subsidiaries are technically embedded. These subsidiaries may appear ordinary from the financial or geographical perspective, but they are actually critical knowledge hubs. This is exactly what McDonald's Canada is, not the biggest market, but one of the most innovative. To conclude the entire presentation, I want to highlight how beautifully the research framework aligns with a real-world example. The study argues that subsidiaries become strategically valuable through their relationships with local partners, especially when those relationships involve technical collaboration. McDonald's Canada brings this to life by working closely with suppliers like McCain and Cargill. McDonald's Canada has developed higher operational efficiency, improved product quality, faster innovation cycles, stronger sustainability practice, menu innovations that travel internationally. These are exactly the kind of outcomes that the study associates with technical embeddedness. We also see that business embeddedness alone is not enough. The Canadian subsidiaries' performance and influence come from transforming business relationships into technical collaboration, just like the study found. Finally, McDonald's Canada demonstrate the core insights of the article. Local networks are not just local, they shape the performance and strategic capabilities of the entire multinational corporations. So overall, the combination of theory and example gives us a very clear message. Subsidiaries that are technically embedded in strong local networks become engines of innovation and competitiveness for the whole MNC, and McDonald's Canada is a perfect living example of that. Thank you for listening to me. Here are some references for academic sources and image sources. Thanks for your time.